in case you confused it with Pittsburgh, North Dakota. Whoa, that police response was like instant. Usually takes at least a few minutes before cops arrive at a crime scene. Are you sure this is Pittsburgh and not Los Santos? Wait, hold up. As the getaway driver, you have one job. And this person didn't even have the van facing the right way? Do you know how many seconds you lose in a U-turn? 6 at minimum. Unless you're driving in Atlanta, and then it's 2. But also driving in Atlanta. This getaway driver sits in the idling van with her mask on and doesn't take it off until the cops showed up. Why does no one know how to mask correctly?
Get him off of us, man!
Using a minivan as your getaway vehicle.
Do something, Collie! Do something!
Be careful when you shout the words "do something." Like Molly Grew, you may not like the results.
We got these bastards now!
Premature celebration. That's your service. What the kind of motto is that for police? Isn't it usually protect and serve? They're cops, not waiters. Oh, there are more people with powers. I bet the episode dedicated to them this season will be really interesting and not feel like an out-of-place detour to Chicago at all. Making Mad Max one word is making my OCD go max madness.
A police chase rocked downtown Pittsburgh earlier this evening.
You might think we'd let news position like this go since it's just in the background, but after She-Hulk, we've designated a new rule in our Sin Bible. From now on, all news position receives the patent-pending Wombo Combo.
I've got 4 quarters. What's your haul?
While you were scrounging around like a homeless bum?
I mowed old man Humphrey's lawn.
$5 for mowing a neighbor's lawn was pretty good money in 1984, but old man Humphrey paid you in quarters? That seems excessive, even for a senior citizen in rural Indiana. Regardless of the fact that Mike is looking for money, he still spent way more time perusing his sister's drawers than I'm comfortable with. Also, stealing.
Asshole!
Nancy is so upset that she chases him all the way outside. All that cardio and just a little bit of violence in the beginning would have saved so much time and effort. If the Hawkins arcade is this popular, how did there just happen to be a bike-free bike rack for the trio to park their wheels? This rack also only appears to hold 3 bikes. So what if Will had ridden a bike? It's bad enough he was kidnapped and held hostage by an actual monster for as long as he was, but you'd also take away from him the convenient bike parking at the arcade? Mike, Lucas, and Dustin are less the 3 amigos and more the 3 dickos.
Don't walk or bike home, I know.
Yes, but even if he was thinking about breaking the biking home rule, he doesn't have a bike for that action to take place, so I'm not sure I understand beating him over the head with a specific rule, Joyce.
Have fun.
Winona Ryder isn't my mom in this scene.
To slay the dragon, use the magic sword.
Okay, it's not often I get a chance to remove a sin for Don Bluth, and since that animation god is responsible for the childhood of millions of kids, I think we owe him one, so go ahead and take it off. But also Dragon's Lair. And yes, I know I've sinned it in the past, and I will sin it again if it ever shows back up, because Dragon's Lair was a huge waste of money, and the arcades knew it, and they didn't care. This is a cute scene, but you don't just rob my sister to watch someone else play video games.
Son of a piece of
Giving into video game rage. Why don't you try a more relaxing game, Dustin? I think Space Ace is over in the corner. That'll cheer you up.
Is it you?
You know I despise Dig Dug.
Despising Dig Dug? You, Keith, and your Cheeto-crusted fingers. Also, while I applaud the Duffer Bros on getting their 80s games and music right, this Cheetos Puffs bag has the wrong design. Crunchy Cheetos used an all-orange bag, but Puffs had a blue bag. Checkmate, Duffers.
I'm not prostituting my sister.
Bold of Mike's friends to assume he has any sway over who his sister dates. Could Elle hypnotize Nancy into dating Keith? Maybe. But she's totally dead and never coming back, so that's a moot point.
Acne isn't a rash and it isn't contagious, you prepubescent wasteoid.
Fun fact, there's actually a skin condition called acneiform rash. So you're half wrong, Keith. Either way, take this in and plan a trip to your dermatologist.
Did you make like what, like $2.50 an hour?
I sure hope not, Dustin. The national minimum wage starting in 1981 was $3.35. If Keith's making less and not a tipped employee, he needs to get with his local labor board.
Will, are you okay?
Oh man, we're picking on poor Will again. Kid's been through enough. Pick on Dustin for a change, or Mike. Will's gonna have enough trauma between season 1 and growing up gay in the 80s. Kudos for having an actual article on the page, but what's with this headline? What self-respecting newspaper editor would let something like this go to print? Article should say Hawkins prepares for Halloween celebration. Also, you spelled turnout wrong in the 3rd line from the bottom. It's one word. Did anyone at the Hawkins Post graduate from J School? Also, it's great the local newspaper in Hawkins was covering the Babyface story. She was the first person to have a heart transplant with a baboon's heart. But how did that story lose out to Hawkins' Halloween preparations as being the top story? Maybe Faye deserves better.
Got any proof on your butt probing aliens yet, Murray?
The aliens want to do butt stuff with humans joke was tired when Independence Day did it in 1996. It's beyond tired here. 2 cents for resurrecting the dead horse, killing it again, and then resuming your beatdown of its body.
Did you hear the one about the fat man with the beard who climbs down chimneys?
I did actually hear that story. I also heard it turned into a violent night. I'll leave now.
Wants you to check out his pumpkins.
Says they've been contaminated by his
Vengeful neighbor Eugene.
Oh, not the pumpkins. If you ruin those, it'll take even longer to make a golem. Getting enough iron is nothing compared to finding pumpkins. Those are always such rare spawns in my game.
Just gonna end up working for my dad anyway. His insurance and benefits and all that adult stuff.
And since it's the 80s, your dad's job might actually come with a pension instead of a shitty 401k scam.
Meets the human brain.
Too many kids in this class look excited to see a human brain model. And I realize it's only Mike, Lucas, and Dustin that are showing enthusiasm, but I mean, one kid would be too many.
Nobody calls me Maxine. It's Max.
Expecting your teacher to have your preferred name on the first day. Cut him some slack. He was in the middle of a mad knowledge drop about the cells of the human brain, and your introduction threw him off his jam. Seeing a Goonie make out with a Heather might be my favorite part of this episode, so this sin is on me. Sorry, all. I'll do better next time.
You're gonna get me fired.
Well, that's my master plan. Get you fired so I can hire you. We don't have to hide back here.
So Bob's master plan is to get Joyce fired so he can become her boss. And then if things go south with their relationship, she could sue him for sexual harassment in the workplace. That does not seem like a great plan.
You're coming to this.
Come and get sheet-faced.
The flyers I made for the TVSins annual toga party somehow made their way into the episode.
You're gonna be home by 8, listening to the talking heads and reading Vonnegut or something.
Treating the words of Kurt Vonnegut like they aren't worth spending an evening reading. I mean, did you even read Slaughterhouse-5? Jonathan could do a lot worse on Halloween night.
Yeah, girls don't play video games.
For the record, TVSins writers, Today and Courtney, are actively staring me down as I read this. Girls do play video games. Don't be a pig, Will. There, I said it. Can I please go now?
But her name is Max. So what?
I'm with Mike here. This is just 2 years removed from Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior, so the idea that someone would use the name Mad Max as a screen name, even though they weren't actually named Max, is not that hard to imagine. When did she have the time to write this note? How did they not notice? Does she just have these to go at the ready? Does she just get stalked that often? I have so many questions. This is high-level spycraft. Taking up 2 parking spots. I know that was a tight turn, but take a moment and angle your car right. Look, I'm going to say this every time. We do not need to see needles going into skin. Ever. We're more than happy to figure out in our head how vials of blood come from someone in a hospital bed. And you might ask, if they didn't show the needle and only the vials of blood, would you sin the fact that there was no needle to extract the blood? And the answer would be yes. Are the dots really necessary here? Can the nurse not hit the center of his forehead without a visual aid?
I need you to realize I'm on your side.
Damn it, Paul Reiser is so effortlessly charming. Regardless of how morally gray his character is, one sin off. I wish he handled all my checkups and asked me about my favorite candy.
Looks like another hot one today, huh?
Never gets old, sir.
This is the guy who goes to the supermarket and when an item doesn't scan at the register says, I guess that means it's free, right? It's me. I'm the guy. Nothing builds up suspense better than some CGI goop that's impossible to even make out what the it's supposed to be.
They're arguing.
This spying stuff is pretty creepy, guys. You know, part of me is thankful for the monsters and the Upside Down because if not, there's a good chance these kids would have turned into the guys from The Big Bang Theory.
This isn't strike 1. This isn't even strike 3.
And if it'd been my coach, be lucky to still be on the team.
Okay, the baseball analogy has kind of made sense up until this point, but what would Mike's being kicked off the team represent? You kicking him out of the house?
His finger looking good.
Okay, Stranger Things. Even I have a limit on how much product placement I want to KFC. I completely understand and approve of the shrine you've built for your missing, presumed dead daughter. It's a fitting memorial and it's heartbreaking. But why the photo in the bathroom? It's a bit much. And it's perched on such a skinny ledge, that's just reckless. Whatever solace the picture's bringing you in there will be gone the second you awkwardly reach for your towel and smack it directly into the toilet. And that'd be number 2 for her. Poor Barb. She deserved better. Cut from Nancy crying about her dead friend to Mike sadly packing up his toys. That is as f***ing weird of a parallel as it gets. Also, Mike's mom never said how big the boxes had to be. Totally missed opportunity to lawyer her by using shoe boxes.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Later.
I know it's the 80s and parents just threw their kids out into the wild and hoped for the best, but it's only been a year since the whole Will disappeared thing. Not to mention, these kids know there are actual monsters out there. I'm just saying I might not be taking too many bike rides by myself at night.
And I would rather be best friends with Zombie Boy than with a boring nobody.
Jonathan Byers isn't my older brother in this scene.
Who would you rather be friends with? Bowie or Kenny Rogers?
Well, that's not exactly a fair competition, and I doubt Kenny would stick around to see the results of that popularity contest. He knows when to hold them and when to fold them.
Mr. Mom. Woo! Perfect.
Getting this excited about Mr. Mom. I love a John Hughes scripted flick as much as the next guy, but it's no National Lampoon or 16 Candles. Thinking, I needed a scene of Will urinating. I didn't need to watch Will Smith pee in Independence Day, and I don't need to see Will Byers pee in Stranger Things. In fact, if I had a nickel for every scene of a male character named Will pissing, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's 2 more nickels than I wanted. Placing your loaded firearm on the table instead of immediately locking it in your gun safe. You've got a child living at home, Hopper. Make better decisions about your weapons. Look at 11, already learning bad habits from Hopper like wasting food. Next thing you know, she'll start smoking and being emotionally unavailable.
Dinner first, then dessert. Always.
When your evening meal is a microwavable dinner, I don't think you get to make any other nutritional rules. Those things are probably twice as unhealthy as the waffle. No one will be seated while Hopper and 11 are seated. That's it? The only explanation we're getting for what happened to Elle after taking out the Demogorgon is that she just magically transported to the Upside Down? But why? She disintegrated that thing. Did its ashes somehow become a transporter? Everything we've seen so far in the show indicates the passages to and from the Upside Down are tangible physical pathways. One of the underrated aspects of the Upside Down is its love for symmetry. You couldn't center that portal any better on the cougar paw if you tried, exhausting yourself to expand a hole that you could have already just crawled through. Heavy-handed symbolic parturition.
We're all patriots in this house.
The Duffer Bros try to convince me that self-respecting Indiana residents would root for the Patriots instead of the Colts, which would have just gotten their start in the state's capital city 6 months prior to this season's beginning. And I'm not buying it. You might convince me Mike's family is full of Lions fans, but not the Patriots. Just kidding. There are no Lions fans.
No, it's difficult to accept. The stories she told you were not true.
Wait, this is the FBI, right? Do they not have anyone watching the outside of the house? How is Elle able to get this close? This large of a trained search party somehow forgets how to look under things. Stranger Things, too. Isn't it cute when TV shows pretend they're movies? You're so adorable, ST. Now quit thinking you're a movie just because you know how to count.
Oh, Jesus.
Being jump scared by your child instead of chastising them for cutting holes in one of your bed sheets. As Hopper and 11 sit down to enjoy some French toast together, I'd just like to point out that it took exactly 8 minutes for everything to get back to normal on this show and completely neuter 11's sacrifice from the end of season 1.
What are you doing?
Peeing?
With the seat down? Also, that's pretty tame compared to what teenage boys usually do when they lock themselves in the bathroom. Plus, not locking the door when you go to the bathroom. And not knocking before you enter the bathroom. So, 3 sins? Yeah, that sounds fair.
Oh my God, I love this costume.
Me too. I'm curious exactly who made them at this level of detail and exactly how they pulled it off, and also why they had to show up the entire neighborhood. Insecurity much?
Why is no one else wearing costumes?
Probably because they knew it'd be super uncomfortable to sit in a costume all day. Think about how long you actually wear that costume during trick-or-treating. It's like 45 minutes. After that, you shed the costume and eat your candy. Why? Because costumes aren't comfortable. And now you have to haul that proton pack around for the next 8 hours. That's why, Dustin.
And we have no choice. We gotta do this. It is now or never.
Setting aside Dustin's sudden and demonstrably false deterministic worldview, can we just think about what's being said here for a second? That final sentence completely negates the previous 2 sentences. If it's now or never, then you literally have a choice between now and never. And if you gotta do it, then never isn't even a choice. Why must I be the only one concerned with linguistic integrity?
Why would he lie to me?
He's a kid, Joyce.
Liars. I mean, kids.
Brings me back old times.
What?
Well, sharing my cigarettes between...
5th and 6th period.
Nicotine nostalgia. Nicostalgia?
God, I want this to be over.
Thing Winona Ryder said during the recording of season 4 somehow makes it into the script for season 2. Now that's some Stranger Things. This is just poor hazmat glove procedure. Have you never seen Drag Race? You gotta tuck or tape that thing, and often both.
Okay,
So how did you feel when you saw the storm?
Why is Owens watching this playback on what looks to be a series of surveillance monitors? You don't have a better way to replay this recording?
Barbara. It's like everyone forgot.
Actually, Nancy, it's kind of the opposite. It's like everyone glommed onto that character so strongly that the show now can't stop talking about her. It's too late, Netflix. You killed her. Move on.
Hey, it's never.
We figured you'd want in.
That's presumptuous of you.
Yeah, totally. You'll come?
There will be a day I do not remove a sin for Dustin. But dear friends, today is not that day.
Inhuman, relentless. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Terminator.
Telekinesis visioning away from the Terminator. Who the f taught Elle to skin an animal? I don't remember seeing that as part of her training at the Institute. Also, building a fire away from your shelter. I've seen enough Discovery Channel survival exploitation shows to know you take that kill back to your shelter to cook. Using 3 cops to take one man's statement about crop poisoning. Look, deputy, if you've got time to lean, you've got time to get some paperwork done or maybe go on patrol or maybe arrest a delinquent teen. What? It rhymed. Eventually.
Hawkins' very own Chinatown.
Show makes me consider which characters would be at the center of the ramifications of this assertion.
You're right. We're stuck here. And whose fault is that?
I know we're going for a Stephen King vibe here, but did you have to bring over the bully who bullies so hard they might as well have just worn a sign around their neck that said bully and saved us all some time cliche? Apparently, these 3 went to the Rickon Stark School of Bicycling Away from Things.
Yeah, that was a close one, huh?
This line delivery.
What's that? Mad Max.
I mean, it's not like she was the one behind the wheel. You know she's too young to drive, so why say her name like that? Thinking you need to touch it to understand that a tree covered in thick mucus is a stranger thing.
You got any marking flags?
Asking a private citizen to provide equipment for your investigation. You got 2 guys at the other site. Have one of them run to the hardware store. Preferably the one who touches things without gloves.
I hope it doesn't suck.
I'm not sure what kind of costume teeth these are, but they are not vampire teeth. And for someone who put this much effort into the rest of their costume, that's a huge oversight. Oversight.
Hey, Will, don't let any of your spazzy friends use this, all right?
Not only irresponsibly letting your brother go, despite the fact that he's increasingly having medical episodes, but trusting an expensive piece of electronic equipment you don't own to a bunch of middle school kids. He's Will Byers, not Sammy Fableman.
I hope it doesn't suck.
Stealing someone else's lame joke and thinking it's better because you're self-aware about it. I hope you know it sucked. This idiot dressing up as Cobra Kai means that the Karate Kid movies exist in this universe, and now Netflix can never give us the Stranger Cobras crossover show we all deserve. Also thinking that this kind of party would ever happen in Hawkins, Indiana. I grew up in a small Midwestern town. You're lucky to get 6 people together to play Uno. Hey, wait, didn't you say the 2 of you had been working on these Halloween costumes for way too long? You got me all excited to see something amazing, but you put on a suit jacket and Nancy has a nice shirt? Joel Goodson and Lana from Risky Business? You could have chosen so many other amazing, more known characters. Stroker, Ace, and Pembroke were right there. Not buying a big enough TV to fill the TV square on your fancy 80s home entertainment cabinet.
My parents are selling their house in Maine.
Maine? Why are you so horny on Maine? What, you're going to wake up every day, go pick some blueberries, and then have a lobster roll for lunch at Red's Eats? Yeah, right. Mainers don't actually eat at Red's. It's a total tourist trap.
Seriously, I could just eat like a whole bowl of nougat, like straight up.
Kids.
You're dead.
The sound department beefs up the first gunshot to make it sound more like an actual gunshot because they know Hopper would never react this way to a toy gun noise, but need the audience to be scared.
Hey, kid, give me some of that candy, would you?
Trying to pull a reverse stranger with candy. Also, who is this kid and why is he alone in the middle of a creepy field without adult supervision at night? I mean, I know it's the 80s, but what the f***?
L-A-T-E. Wait.
Show turns into Sesame Street for a bit, but refuses to admit that Snuffleupagus was born in the Upside Down.
It's like, seriously, rich people are such suckers.
The theme of every movie and TV show made in the early 2020s somehow makes it into the episode.
Trick-or-treat freak!
Roll Hallomercials.
I couldn't find you. Are you hurt?
If you couldn't find him, I'd like to know the series of events that led to you running through this alleyway, down these stairs, and looking behind this brick wall. Stop showing vomiting on screen. You can just make the noises off screen. We'll get the gist. We don't need to see Bubba lose his pure fuel. I'm always surprised in parties with loud music and everyone doing their own thing that somehow the entire room knows to stop and awkwardly stare at our main characters when something like this happens. It's a level of cringe gravity I don't often see outside of TikTok. The more I watch Harrington in this show, the more angry I get that no one thought to give him flash forwards where he can be played by Ben Schwartz. Floor candy.
Hey, well, if we're both going crazy, then we'll go crazy together, right?
No, Mike. That's a terrible idea. Do you want natural-born killers, Mike? Because this is how you get natural-born killers. How the f*** did Jonathan sneak a drunk Nancy past her parents? And Mike. And Will.
Please, will you open the door? I'm gonna freeze to death out here.
Lying to your children about how you might die.
I'm just gonna be out here by myself eating all this candy. I'm gonna get fat.
First Hop, we love you, but your dad bod is already legendary, and we accept that because TVSins is nothing if not body positive. Second, your original plan was to eat candy and get fat, remember? So it really makes no difference if Elle is right beside you or in her room. Your plan was the same either way.
Could have a heart attack or something.
Being honest with your children about how you might die. Wait, doesn't she need to be in the sensory deprivation tank to do this? She did in season 1. Why can't she just do it with television static here? Also, styling your in-between world for 11 like the movie Under the Skin. I'm not sure exactly how old Dustin is, but I'm pretty sure he's at least knows the difference between a costume proton pack and a real 1 years old. The strangest thing in this room is all the switches on this one panel, and how little light there is in a room despite 5 out of the 6 of them being on.
I rigged a trap with a motor to make it look like I caught a ghost.
At least 3 different adults in this episode will half-ass an interrogation of overly suspicious adolescents.
Sorry, Yertle. Temporary eviction, buddy.
We will receive no updates on Yertle's living situation for the rest of the show. D'Artagnan survives this.
You like nougat too, huh?
Okay, D'Artagnan survives Dustin in general.
You're pretty cute, you know that?
It is not. That is Discount Slimer from Ghostbusters, Dustin. Get your eyes checked.
I'm gonna call you D'Artagnan.
Choosing D'Artagnan instead of Athos, Porthos, or Aramis. Rookie mistake. Alexander Dumas is disappointed. I don't even want to know what you'd have picked if this was a Count of Monte Cristo candy bar. The Duffer Brothers somehow recreate the noise my stomach made during tests in high school, or pretty much any time it was embarrassingly quiet enough to sing the song of its people.
I guess I'm just gonna have to enjoy this triple-decker Eggo extravaganza on my own.
Whether or not this is actually enjoyable, I see 4-deckers.
You know the great thing about it? It's only 8,000 calories.
After a very scientific study of this waffle tower, I've concluded that the only way to get this extravaganza to 8,000 calories would be by jamming a stick of butter in the middle. But since I can't discount that, the sin is jelly beans.
You visited him again last night?
Why, to whom hath 11 paid visit yester eve? And whenceforth does this enigmatic sir retain his cloak of pronoun gameth secrecy? Teletantramnesis.
Want to go for a ride in the Bobmobile?
Na-na-na-na-na-na-na, Bob Guy. Na-na-na-na-na-na-na, Bob Guy. Bob Guy. Bob Guy. Batman. I mean, Bob Guy.
You already have 5 books checked out.
And I was worried we wouldn't get enough scenes of characters checking out books from the library.
I am on a curiosity voyage, and I need my paddles to travel. These books are my paddles.
Being up your curiosity stream without a boat.
Did I ever tell you about Mr. Baldo? Every night, he would come to me in my dreams.
This Baldo's on for all of the please tell me you saw a child psychologist amounts of never mind, you probably grew up in the 50s when mental health was being tossed into an asylum and given electroshock therapy sometime.
Phineas miraculously survived. He seemed fine. And physically, yes, he was. But his injury resulted in a complete change to his personality.
The only thing wilder than the story of Phineas Gage is how conveniently Mr. Clark's lesson matches up with what the writers want us to suspect about Will.
I have something you won't believe.
We never see them slide the desks closer together for this shot. I mean, conversation.
He began to curse, using terrible words that I don't dare repeat here.
Thinking these middle school kids weren't attempting to construct sentences using only these words right before class. How could Hopper be so surprised that Hawkins National Laboratory is at the center of this? Does he really need to draw all these circles on the map just to have this aha moment? It's like he forgot the first season even happened.
A lot of history here.
If you're referring to all the flashback exposition going on, then I agree. Stop it. Thinking a montage of cabin cleaning was the pop of energy this story needed.
Oh yeah, also, you don't love me.
Skip.
I was drunk, Steve. I don't remember any of that.
Blaming your behavior on inebriation. If a judge won't accept it as an excuse for being covered in nothing but very colorful and strategically placed Post-its in the middle of an office, Max, then I'm not accepting it here as a completely random example.
Terrestrial pollywogs? Yep. 2 to be exact. Injurana semipalmata?
Dustin must have an overdue book on flux capacitors as well, because this genus won't be named for another 2 years. Will reminds us of the thing he coughed up, but chooses to tell no one because he's afraid they'll make him go to a doctor or just in general do something that might make sense.
Bologna?
This works. Putting this bench here for all the people that want to sit and stare into the store like it's some kind of postmodern performance art.
I mean, not so much Jonathan. He's a tough cookie to crack.
You don't crack cookies, Bob. You crack nuts. He just improperly mixed tough nut to crack with that's the way the cookie crumbles. And we hate Malifaux around here. They stick out like a sore neck.
Just noticed this morning that my JVC was a little dinged up.
Whoa, Bob, slow down. You're in public.
But he was still worried about you.
Tab.
You need to cut yourself some slack, okay?
She does not. Nancy was a total asshole to Steve, and his feelings are valid. This Walkman is the Machina X Deus that reminds Nancy of Radio Shack's existence, but it doesn't explain this strange placement of goldfish along with 2 beverages that will certainly not play well in your stomach.
What are you thinking?
Do you want to skip 4th period?
Answering a question with a question to keep us in suspense is sinful enough on its own, but the show will drag this out even further by only showing us the outside of a bag and a phone call that raises more questions than answers. Also, this is odd considering the whole,
Where were you this morning? I missed 1st period.
Nancy's really giving 1st and 4th period mixed signals. Episode finally gives us the showdown we've been waiting for. Eleven's about to go toe-to-toe with a mother and her child.
She died of a fever when I was just 3 months old. I do wish she lived long enough for me to remember calling her mother.
Thinking this bedtime story would help someone who's been through trauma sleep better. Putting Armatron in a corner.
Because it's a VHS-C, not a VHS. You gotta find the RFP1U with coaxial cable so you can connect the video ins and outs.
This one just goes into the camera itself.
Making Joyce mess with all these cords when you could just have a VHS-C adapter instead. If only there was a place that sold such things, Bob could be the hero Joyce deserves.
Watch it, zombie boy. Trick or treat, freak. Boo.
Boo.
Stop! I'm really sorry, Mr. Clark. It was just a stupid prank.
Mr. Clark consistently and without fail showcases his supernatural ability to look past alarming behavior.
What if when Will was stuck in the Upside Down, he somehow acquired true sight? Maybe Will can somehow see into the Upside Down.
How often can reality keep affirming the imaginations of these kids before they grow into adults that wear tinfoil hats?
But even if he is, it doesn't automatically mean that he's bad.
That's like saying just because someone's from the Death Star doesn't make them bad.
FN 2187 knows that he wasn't on the Death Star, but he would still like to have a word. However, he can't, because his character's been sidelined and sent off on a mostly pointless mission. Yes, I'm still mad about the sequels. TV shows love showing people pick locks with a paperclip, but they never show how they turn the cylinder with that paperclip. This is 75% bullshit. Forgetting that people are solid matter and trying to run through them.
You remember that Russian girl Murray was going on about the other day? Yeah, well, now I'm thinking he's not so crazy after all.
Stay where you are. Do not move.
Even if they don't move, Officer Powell didn't give you a location or any information about who they're even talking to. How do you know you stormed off in the right direction? Also, the magnificently redundant, stay where you are and do not move. Kicking the dick like a door.
Strike that. Reverse it.
Nothing here, man.
How can you be sure? All you did was talk to the teacher for 2 seconds. Dark could be somewhere in that classroom and you wouldn't know.
I'm our paladin, Will's our cleric, Dustin's our bard, Lucas is our ranger, and Elle's our mage.
Thinking your party's complete without someone to play a thief. Who exactly are you relying on to disarm traps and unlock doors, huh? The paladin? I think not.
Who's Elle? She was in our party a long time ago.
A child's concept of time. A misunderstanding that could be resolved quickly if the character didn't jump to conclusions cliché. Why does everybody in the show need to peel out in reverse like it's a prequel to the Fast franchise? Just back into the space.
Go away.
Not noticing the qualitative differences between Mr. Baldo and the Mind Flayer. Speeding. Joyce is a dick to the school landscaping crew. Don't screech to a halt in the grass. Do you have any idea how hard it is to cover up tracks in soil and replant the grass? It takes weeks to undo. Screech on the pavement like everyone else.
I think it's having another episode.
As long as it's not an episode where 11 goes off with some other kids with powers in a van for an hour. I'm so glad that never happens. Will. Venom, let there be Will buyers. Possession. Indwelling. Dominion. Excitement?
Okay, that totally freaked me out.
I understand why we're freaked. The audience saw Will get possessed. Max just saw a boy standing in the football field with his eyes closed. Why is she freaked out? That was me every day during marching band practice for 4 years of high school. Nobody else got freaked out. I mean, the bullying freaked me out a little, but that's entirely unrelated. Mostly.
2 episodes in 2 days.
It's getting worse.
Kids that aren't medical professionals who think they are medical professionals. Or just kids.
You think it's true sight?
That wouldn't make sense, though. Since Advanced Dungeons & Dragons is the edition out when the season takes place, the spell True Sight, which is called True Seeing, is only available to clerics. And the show already established that Will plays a wizard. Yeah, I do feel really cool right now. Thanks for asking.
These episodes that you're having, I think Dr. Owens is wrong.
Moms that aren't medical professionals that think they are medical professionals. Or just moms.
I tried. I tried to make it go away.
I mean, but did you? You screamed go away once. And I feel like you're overselling your attempts here, Will.
But it got me, Mom. Well, what does that mean? I felt it everywhere.
Puberty.
I will never, ever let anything bad happen to you ever again.
Wow, that's some big talk for the mom of an eternal victim when the series still has 3 more seasons to go. I'm sure she'll keep that promise, though.
Hey! What the hell is wrong with you?
I don't know, Hop. Maybe a grown man she looked up to as a father figure has been screaming at her for the last 5 minutes, forgetting that this is a child with severe PTSD. What? You can spot it in Will, but not your own kid? You know what? Here's 5 sins for being an absolute shithead.
If you're gonna have a girls' night, romantic comedies, do our nails, gossip.
Damn it, Nancy. Rule 1 of lying, keep it simple. Don't say one word more than you need to. A girls' night at Stacy's was perfectly fine. They all know what a girls' night means. And I also know what a girls' night means because of this book I'm reading, which is also coincidentally called A Girls' Night at Stacy's. And
Just tell him to call me the second he gets in. Please.
if Hopper thought Joyce was going to need him in an emergency, why not just get her a radio? He uses one to communicate with Elle when he's not yelling at her. Buy her one for emergencies because cell phones don't exist yet. Also thinking Hopper's in any way qualified to assist your child with mental health issues. I think he's more than proven otherwise during the previous 10 minutes.
You promised no doctor.
You have a sick child and you promise not to take him to the one qualified health expert that can help? Jeez, Joyce. Oh, I know. Take him to a nurse practitioner. They can prescribe medication if need be, and they're technically not doctors. What? All our YouTube channels have sin in the name. You didn't expect we'd have demons on staff to write out complex agreements and tricky word qualifiers? How do you think we ensnare our Sin Club members? Speaking of which, if you haven't already,
I'm gonna run you a nice bath and it'll warm you up.
forcing your kid to soak in their own filth.
Morning, Dart.
Meanwhile, on Dustin and Dart, which would easily be the least interesting subplot this show has ever had if it wasn't for that 11 joins the X-Men episode, but it still sucks.
It's too hot.
You're not 5, Will. You know where the cold water knob is. Use it.
You're moving your feet. Plant them next time. Draw a charge.
Promoting flopping. Also, if Steve was the star of the basketball team before Billy came to town, he should already f***ing know that. And now this show is making me think about joining Team Billy, and I don't like it.
Plenty of bitches in the sea.
And microplastics. Plenty of those in the sea, too.
That guy. There.
What?
He just talked to himself.
Being so bad at your surveillance job that a couple of teenagers spotted you. Rookie mistake, you two. You had one getaway option and you parked it out in the open. Did you two watch any of the Bond films? There's like 13 by this point in the show. Damn, Will's a great artist. Does anyone know if he's taking commissions for D&D character portraits? Because I've got this tiefling warlock who wanders water deep and...
Aaron, you're doing it again. Focus on the script. Stop being such a dork.
I'm not a dork. You're a dork. I mean, roll D20s.
Will didn't want me to tell anyone.
But Mike is betraying Will's trust because if this series has taught me anything, it's that Mike is a terrible friend. Withholding valuable information when your friend's life is at stake. Holy sh**. Did Hop really leave a child in a cabin full of broken glass? Maybe Elle would be safer in a lab with Papa. I'm sorry, but these boxes are way too clean to spend all the time below a dusty cabin in the woods of rural Indiana. Have you ever been to Butler, Indiana? It's kind of like Hawkins. I've seen some basements there, and let me tell you, things stored down there don't stay clean very long.
Sorry about that. Hospitality's not our strong suit.
Was he outside the door until Nancy screamed at the camera, or was that a coincidence? Either way, convenient timing is convenient. Also, has hospitality ever been the strong suit of an evil lab? I've seen a lot of evil labs, from Mandark's workspace to the Death Star, and let me tell you, not one of them served cookies.
Men of science have made abundant mistakes of every kind.
But that's not the full quote, Doc. Sarton goes on to say their knowledge has improved only because of their gradual abandonment of ancient errors, poor approximations, and premature conclusions. You had all the data from season 1 to abandon ancient errors, poor approximations, and premature conclusions. All that information to tell you to stop f***ing with the Upside Down, but you kept doing it. So maybe find another scientist to quote.
What if they tried to replicate that?
I don't think your defense of what if the Russians knew we f***ed with the physics of time and space is as effective as you imagine it to be. Between this and the TV stand at the cabin, Hopper clearly refuses to take heavy items off heavier objects before moving them. So I guess the sin is Hopper's back, surviving this.
This is all blue and has some weird dirt color.
You mean brown. Also, there's black on those drawings, and purple. Joyce is terrible at color theory.
He's drawing vines.
Hopper thinking that was all he needed to say to his good friend who's freaking the f out and worried to death about her son before he abruptly leaves. Creating a super intense moment in the score for Hopper carrying a shovel. Never knew digging could be so intense.
Jane.
Tarzan. Also, looks like 11 was lucky enough to find the expositional dump file. I was trying to remember where I'd put that. You'd think by now 11 would learn to bring better shoes for her upside-down world water walks. Sliders are your friend, Al. I understand the car wasn't starting earlier, but did Jonathan and Nancy really think it wouldn't start now after creepy surveillance guy gave Jonathan the keys and wished them both a good day? I mean, it had to get to their location somehow. You're telling me the government agency that can tap Nancy's phone didn't think to check her purse for a recording device? That's some bullshit that only exists because the writers needed the bad guys to make a mistake. Come on, Duffer Brothers. You're better than this, I think.
You still want to do this?
Not particularly, Jonathan, but Jeremy told me that if I didn't keep going, he'd lock me in the shed with the badgers again, so my hands are tied, just as they would be in the shed.
Dirk, I've got to talk to you, buddy.
Leaving the lights on when you're not in the room. That's how you run up your parents' power bill, Dustin. What's next? You gonna open your window when the AC is on so your family can pay the air conditioning for the whole neighborhood? Did Dustin's mother not hear the glass shatter on this tank and come to investigate? Having a hard time believing Dart's violent escape went unnoticed. So, not only did Dustin's mother inexplicably fail to hear shattering glass, but she somehow missed the cat being murdered as well? Have you heard cats when they think they're dying? Those are some loud f***ers. I'm not buying Dustin's mom somehow missing all of this. Episode expects us to believe that a man whose daily diet includes a hearty helping of donuts, cigarettes, and beer could dig a hole this large all on his own in just a few hours. And I do not believe you, episode. What exactly was Hopper hanging on to lower himself down into this hole? You know what, Duffer Brothers? You've maxed out the unbelievability credit card. So there's 10 more sins. Shut them down, Senny. Bad attempts at making your answering machine messages more jokey. It's a really cool visual that you got Will to draw all these routes, but who has this much paper at their house? Did Joyce pick up a part-time job at Dunder Mifflin? How exactly was this space even created? If she didn't have a piece of paper to connect the top piece to, then how did she know the picture at the bottom was even in the right place? Taping up your upside down art over a Jaws poster.
And the more he spreads, the more connected to him I feel.
This sounds really serious. If only Joyce hadn't promised Will she wouldn't call a doctor. If only there was a doctor a few miles down the road that specialized in the upside down. If only I'd stop talking like this. If only.
It's like when you have a dream and you can't remember it unless you think really hard.
I typically find that no amount of hard thinking will help me recall a dream. Those memories have to be triggered by something similar happening during the day that reminds me of what I dreamt the night before. So here's a sin for Will trying to psychoanalyze a situation when he doesn't even have a medical license. That's fraud, William. Fraud!
Maybe all of this is happening for a reason.
Mike pulls the everything happens for a reason bullshit. And I can't help but recall sitting in the courtroom trying to explain why I was found naked in the freezer at a Wendy's. I ultimately played the everything happens for a reason strategy, and while I didn't go to prison, I got 3 years probation and mild cases of frostbite on unfortunate places on my body. So don't tell me this reasoning works, Mike. Oh man, Hop's gonna go out like Nedry in Jurassic Park, isn't he? Death by goop to the face. If they could repair the hole that quickly, why'd they wait until Hopper collapsed to do it? Shouldn't the Roots have patched this up shortly after Hopper punched a hole in their vein? Making it sound like you're sucking up the entire Atlantic Ocean through a straw when you drink.
Oh, we only seem to hang out when the world's about to end.
You have no proof the world's about to end. You saw one tear in reality that the scientists seem to have contained. And that's it. Sure, we all know about the Roots and tunnels under Hawkins, but Nancy doesn't. Did she read the script when we weren't looking?
After everything just disappeared.
I mean, I thought my brother was dead, my mother was having a psychotic breakdown, and then we got attacked by monsters from another dimension and almost died. Sorry I wasn't there for you, Nancy. I'll try to stop being so selfish.
So who, baby? Hopper. I think he's in trouble. I think he's going to die.
So glad the writers chose to bring Will back and just make him the Lassie of season 2. As we've said so many times, we do not need to see anyone throw up on screen. And then somehow the Duffs make it worse by having Hopper throw up blood. Waiting until after you've been trapped in poison to finally make a face covering. Honestly, it's a wonder Hop doesn't die in season 2.
That's enough, Erica.
Kids. A lot of crazy happens in this episode, but honestly, the biggest mystery is how Erica has a plastic Mrs. Butterworth squeeze bottle in 1984, when those didn't land on shelves until 1999. I want to know more about the time-traveling syrup.
We can find her.
Giving your sobbing mother false hope. The mighty Duxtons. Dustin, who's never shown any physical prowess whatsoever, Wayne Gretzky's a baby Demogorgon into his basement entrance several feet away.
I'm sorry. You ate my cat.
Dustin, if you really want Dart to forgive you, you've got to give it a little more oomph. Breaking and entering.
Breathe. Sunflower. Rainbow. 450.
Whoa, Elle's mother is a winter soldier? What a twist! I did not see that coming. Conspiracy Nut has a red string bulletin board cliche.
Watch the attitude, bird.
Telling someone to watch their attitude while giving them, well, attitude.
And keep things PG in here, right?
Putting two teens in a private room and expecting them to keep things PG. Would you put a fox in a hen house and tell it to keep things vegan?
I just needed a safe place.
A safe place to what? Be creepy?
Max would be the maddest and maxiest at TVSins.
Something about Vines?
Nobody watches Vines anymore, Joyce. We're all into TikTok now. Trying to keep up. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some Tosh.0 reruns to watch on my TiVo.
Okay, so the lines aren't roads.
Immediately forgetting that you were just talking about the health of Will and Joyce because you got excited about a break in the game.
Don't you get it? It's not a puzzle. It's a map.
But Joyce already knew it was some sort of map, and we knew it was some sort of map, so why is Bob's exclamation?
Look, if anybody copies, this is Jim Hopper, Hawkins chief.
Is he without his face covering again? You know what, Hop? Here's 12 sins for once again breathing in poisonous air with no fabric over your mouth. Do you want upside down particles in your lungs? Because that's how you get upside down particles in your lungs. And upside down ants. Hopper was only able to get the vine monsters to move away with the fire. Since there's no fire anymore, why aren't they just closing back in on him?
Can you tell me where you came from?
I feel like the first question Becky should be asking Eleven is, how the f did she get the chain lock to move and open the door with her mind? Hell, what the f? You can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your mom's nose.
All right, I'm 3.6 inches. What do you got?
Please. Nobody who fights off Shelob is packing anything less than 9 inches. There's no need to be so modest, Samwise.
Karen, where's Nancy?
Expecting your wife to know where your kids are instead of taking an interest in parenting yourself.
Son of a bitch. You know, you're really no help at all. You know that?
Mr. Wheeler literally just told Dustin where Mike and Nancy were. How could he have been of any more help? Choosing to smoke a cigarette when you're having all kinds of issues breathing normally. Even in the 80s, smokers knew this wasn't a great idea. Hopper eventually survives this.
Music, really?
Complaining that someone is about to play Billie Holiday.
Stop talking.
Cutting off the nice lady who made you lunch, offered to take you in, and badly wants to communicate with her brain-damaged sister one last time. Lucky for 11, Mama's memories are being kind enough to just give Elle the greatest hits.
Hopper! Hopper! Hopper!
Hopper. Also, does nobody in this town understand how dangerous it is to go underground without a proper face covering? Here's 30 more sins for all these amateur spelunkers that don't know what the f they're doing.
Do you see anything? I mean, in your now memories?
Referring to current knowledge as now memories. You're experiencing it currently. You're not remembering anything. Just how sharp is Hopper's pocket knife? He cuts through that like a box cutter through packing tape. Dude must sharpen his blade at least once a week. Or, you know, the writers do. Probably that. Fantastic. That's the horrifying image my brain will see when I wake up to pee at 3 in the morning. I'll mentally put Screaming Will right next to that thing from The Grudge. Shot from below of a quickly passing drop ceiling to indicate someone is being wheeled through a hospital cliche. Yeah! Damn it! Stop showing me needles going into people's skins. I can infer sedation. I can infer sedation! Having a discount Lucille in your trunk as if that's a normal thing. Quickly throwing a door wide open to an area you've been told holds a cat-eating lizard monster. Forgetting to cover up your escape hole with a poster of whatever the Demogorgon version of Raquel Welch is. Oh, shit. I hope all the characters have their Girardi and Razorbacks equipped. Continuing to use flashlights to do your search work instead of turning on the house lights. These guys sure are committed to the atmosphere of the show, huh?
Can a single person in this room tell me what is wrong with my boy?
Well, I'm not in the room, but I can take a whack at this. You see, Joyce, the Duffer Brothers had an unexpected smash hit in season 1, and because Netflix likes money more than Mr. Krabs, they were told to quickly make a season 2. They didn't know how to create additional conflict without once again using Will as their pincushion of suffering. So that's what's wrong with your boy. The writers didn't want to have Mike, Dustin, or Lucas suffer this season.
see why I have to stop the truth from spreading too.
Using a high-speed dubbing deck to dub things at not high speed.
You've got chemistry, history, plus the real shared trauma.
Thinking that trauma bonding is the ultimate foundation for a successful relationship.
There's a pull-out sofa in my study if you want it.
Trusting the pull-out sofa method. Pull-out sofas have been scientifically shown to only have about 80% sleep effectiveness.
He does this for a couple of hours and he's got it all figured out.
This Nancy, Jonathan, Steve love triangle bullshit goes on for all the season after season time, allowing this much light to come through the window overnight. Quit being so distracted by your lady boner, Nancy, and get some more protection on that thing to keep unwanted streams from penetrating through. I may also be distracted.
Hey, they're in love.
No, actually they're not. They don't even exist on the same planet.
Lucas would be excellent at TVSins.
The hell is that? Something you should see.
Trying to camouflage your better come take a look at this cliche as a here, put this on, and then you better come take a look at this cliche.
It's been spreading and growing beneath us like some cancer.
TikTok.
I always thought stuff like this happened in movies and comic books.
Mikey conveniently forgets to mention that it also happens in television shows from desperate streaming companies who are starting to realize that all the money they threw around may not be coming back to them anytime soon.
Kind of makes my idea of moving to Maine sound a little less crazy, right?
Come on, Bob. Pet Semetary's been out for an entire year by this point. Read it and rethink the main thing. We sent a TVSins writer up there once to see what it was like. She never returned.
Is there a doctor? We need a doctor!
Not installing a call button in the room of your patient suffering from mysterious metaphysical related ailments.
So, Jonathan, how was the pullout?
Stop being a pervert, Murray. Here's 5 cents for being lame enough to make a pullout joke. Can you imagine?
Oops.
Treating the wasting of food and the resulting growing epidemic of global food scarcity so casually.
For your travels.
Offering a gift of vodka to your underage friends and encouraging it to be for their travels. As if having him smoking during his workout wasn't enough, Billy snags a magic beer out of thin air on his way to the door to really drive home what an 80s bad boy he really is. Leaving your window open for absolutely no reason whatsoever. If you come back to a room filled with the local wildlife throwing a kegger, don't blame me, Max.
You remember me?
Man, Will forgot Hopper even faster than Hopper forgot that Hellboy film he was in.
You say it upset him. Is that him?
Yes, it's convenient that he just happens to have this picture at the ready, but more importantly, this is terrible evidence work by the photographers. Each picture should be photographed separately on a dark background, not thrown on top of each other like some sort of scrapbooking project.
It burns
Where?
everywhere.
Giving unhelpful answers. Come on, Will. It's not like the show just uses you as a trauma magnet. Grow up.
What happens when my boy is gone?
You basically lose your mind and turn into a single-minded wrecking ball of emotion? Did you not see yourself in season 1, Joyce?
The key with girls is just acting like you don't care.
Weird. I thought that was the key with waving your arms in the air.
Now, whoa, slow down, Romeo.
I really hope Steven's about to teach Dustin about the importance of consent. That's going to be awesome.
Fabergé. What? It's Fabergé Organics.
One of the greatest choices this show made was letting these two cook together. Take your sin off for the birth of Steve. Hopper's desperately trying to contact 11 here because even the characters in the show realize the audience has been bored without her around for the last 30 minutes. I always start to get sleepy around 11:30.
Just make sure you heat up some real food, okay? Not just Eggos.
How dare you, Hopper? Serving of Eggos contains 20% of your daily intake of calcium, iron, and vitamin A, and oh no. This was a trap to get me to defend Eggos, wasn't it?
We have bigger problems than the boy.
Agree. Brahms the Boy 2 was much worse, but I'm not sure what this has to do with anything.
Doctors take forever, always.
That's why they call us patients. Look, guys, this section's boring. I'm just trying my best. These two have been spreading meat chunks like the only creature that would possibly follow this trail is the Demogorgon, but it's honestly much more likely that the climax of this episode should have featured a turkey vulture. Putting tacks through your Jaws poster. Get that thing in a frame, you poster fiend.
I don't shoot Polaroid.
What?
It's not mine.
They left behind a Polaroid cartridge? Who are these idiots and why do their brains run on script convenience? Synchronized barrel rolling. Of all the ridiculous things these kids managed to do in this short of time, getting all of these tires up there is the ridiculousest. Those suckers are heavy. At some point before now, they would have been tired enough to stop and realize they were already tired enough.
Don't be an idiot, okay? It wasn't a bear.
That's good. Just sure you don't care.
There's a difference between negging and just being an asshole. Hold on, reconsidering. Nope, I take it back. There is no difference. But Dustin was still being an asshole, and Dustin the asshole is my least favorite Dustin.
My mom and my stepdad, they wanted...
I've got eyes!
Bragging about having eyes. What a silly thing to say. It's not like the show's going to take the eyes of one of its main characters. Could you imagine?
Steve, what are you doing?
Just get ready.
And that's all I'm going to say about that right now, because I wouldn't want to give anything away to the audience yet.
Humans taste better than cat, I promise.
Making promises without the proper experiential knowledge. I hope.
They can't get in! They can't!
Being this confident in your shitty school bus fort. Unless you see Miss Frizzle somewhere in there, your bus ain't shit.
What the?
Deus Ex. Deus Ex. Huh. Deus Ex Unknownina, I guess? Is that satisfying? Doesn't it just completely undo this entire plan to, the plan to... Huh. This plotline was all the pointless, huh?
They're going somewhere.
Ooh, oh, I want to play. They'll arrive at a place. They're gonna be near stuff. See? I can say vague shit too.
Sir, there's nothing here.
You can tell this is going to go extremely well because this is the one time they sent an entire team down without a single character we really know. I bet I could even tell you what color shirts they're wearing under those hazmat suits.
I'm sorry.
Hey, save your apologies for the Chicago episode. That's what this season truly needs to apologize for.
He made me do it.
And for some reason is letting me tell you this now when I couldn't earlier. He said something about extending the dramatic tension.
The spy.
The spy!
Roll commercials! Roll commercials!
Or to the left, green, 450, sunflower, rainbow.
Hey Duffer Brothers, I usually prefer my seizure-inducing episodes to give me at least a few minutes to warm up. This is almost as bad as that Porygon episode of Pokemon that sent lots of Japanese children to the hospital. Now, how many sins was I going to give this one again? Sunflower, no that's not right. Rainbow, no not that either. 4 to the left. Close enough. 4 it is.
She kept showing the girl in the room.
She kept showing you a lot of things though, so why zero in on the girl and not, for instance, the safe, other than to move the plot along? Chucking a file folder to the floor rather than handing it to the person wanting to look at it who's standing directly behind you.
Does anyone look familiar?
This entire file is bullshit. Do you know how many children are reported missing in the US every year? 460,000. Are you telling me this woman in rural Indiana somehow sorted through all of them without the internet to find a handful of kids taken by a shady government lab? Also, are we supposed to believe the top secret government organization that gave this woman a lobotomy just to keep their stuff hidden wouldn't immediately search this home and confiscate all of these files? To quote another allegedly sociopathic preteen,
I don't think so.
too many nosebleeds. How does she even have any blood left in her head? Hold on, in the first season, Ellie needed a sensory deprivation tank to do psychic stuff. In this season, she's shown to need blindfold and static, but here she can do it while sleeping? Is the TV even on? Can I get some consistency for these powers, please? Her nose isn't even bleeding.
He gave me this number and he came here looking for her.
Wow, not only was Elle able to locate one of the 4.5 billion people on the globe with her psychic powers, but they allowed her dream to end just as her aunt was making a suspicious phone call for Elle to overhear. May wonders never cease.
Jane? Jane? Jane!
Why you fooling with me? Me! Title screen after over 5 minutes just seems too bourgeois to me. How did she know which bus to get on? How does she know how buses work? I don't even know how buses work.
Watch it, kid.
Chicagoans. But also, show has time for this. Remember how Hopper and the gang were about to find their facility stormed by a pack of demogorgons? Please don't let this be the Mandalorian Season 3 Parole Scientist episode of Stranger Things. Running a criminal outfit and not locking the door, Stringer Bell would never.
Dream circle. I think she's a schizo or something.
Thinking dream circles are so ridiculous that they must be a sign of mental illness when you yourself were just attacked by imaginary spiders. Oh my gosh, this changes.
Let me guess. You're a policeman. He also stops you from using your gifts.
Well, technically, Hopper's never forbidden Elle from using her powers. She just has to stay in the cabin while using them. And you might say, wait, you're not really going to drop a sin for such a small technicality, right? And I'd say, welcome to TVSins. We get a little sin happy when television series have the potential to be so much better than detouring into filler.
Think of it as a kind of magic.
Thing the Duffer Brothers said to explain Elle's powers to the Netflix acquisitions team somehow makes it into the script.
Nothing is wrong. I just feel it's never.
You telling me Shirley's a human radar detector or some shit?
Oh, so psionic illusions and telekinesis are fine, but you draw the line at telepathic GPS? You know, when I say it out loud, it does sound ridiculous, but doubting powers in the age of satanic panic is certainly a sin. Not that I want to explain how I know this, but that knife's going to be pretty dull if you actually ever need it.
But like us, the outcasts.
Show has time for this outcast cliche bullshit. Hopper could be dead right now for all you know. Ah, who am I kidding? Show doesn't have the stones to make that one stick.
They're criminals. We simply make them pay for their crimes.
Nonchalant justification for murder.
I kept my anger inside. I tried to hide from it, but then that pain festered. Festered? It spread until finally I confronted my pain and I began to heal.
Oh, I see the messages Hollywood intends to teach it to us. Revenge heals all wounds. Got it.
I can't.
I guess you could say Elle needs more training. Oh, we got jokes, y'all. Gotta keep this shit on track. Elle holds her hand and screams while using her powers cliche.
Him.
This headline is just retired? Come on, no newspaper editor with ink for blood would ever let that run above a story. And I can back that up with literally minutes of research and my own overconfidence. Also, just how many of these secret lab government spy guys live in Chicago? Did they all get a special deal on condos there or something? I don't buy this group staying quiet enough long enough for this to work. There's a table right behind you.
Where's the fun if there's no risk?
Have you played Risk? Game takes 6 hours to set up. There's nothing fun about it. On the list of painful things I'd rather do, it ranks lower than having my crotch kicked by a Muay Thai master after waxing my taint with jalapeno honey. Oh, f*** off with your unearned slow motion walk.
Hey, your bathroom is leaking.
I know Callie's been focused on her killing spree and all, but if I had her powers, step one would be tricking myself into a fancy apartment, or at least something nicer than an underpass in Flaming Barrel.
Okay, contestants, you have a minute and a half.
Saying this out loud right by the door where the cashier can hear you over the sound of sloshing water. Waiting this long into the montage to steal money.
Hey! Put that back or I'll blow your head off.
Does she not know when the illusions wear off? Why wasn't someone at least watching the door?
We're only stealing from the war criminal billionaires who own this place.
Really? Do war criminal billionaires find a lot of profit in places that sell bait and tackle and booze? Looks like a mom and pop place to me. Steal from them, sure, but don't gaslight them because that is a sin too far. Not kicking his gun away. Remember, kids, gun safety. Go. Was there a silent alarm in the bathroom? How the f*** did the police get to a rural gas station robbery so quick? No blindfold or static? You know what? 10 sins for playing fast and loose with 11's powers again. I should send this because they went through a montage of picking masks only to take them off as soon as they confront the guy, but I won't because this is how you do revenge unburdened by disguise or false pretense. Just the blood rushing in your ears as your soul screams for recompense, oh, whew, I think I might need to talk to my therapist. Stealing a move from James Earl Jones without asking. I know he likes to alter deals, but theft is theft. The plot-perfect placement of this photo. This is a sin for not robbing a bank and being cold.
I was once just like you know that?
Oh, you were also stuck in a filler arc despite being the main character? Harsh.
But that's why I'm hard on you, because I see in you my past mistakes.
Equating pressuring a young girl into cold-blooded murder to tough love.
Out of money, you mean? You are baroque!
Why is Dottie collecting part of the pot when Funshine won? Was there a side bet? Was there a tie? Do they know how to play poker? Do I? Is this happening now? Is it just a vision? Is it 11's power? Are we even supposed to care anymore?
Your mother sent you here for a reason, remember?
Yeah, what was that reason exactly? Of that or of this entire episode? I'm telling you, my bet is still on the safe.
But I can save them.
Good, because Bob's really growing on me and I relate to the dorky guy finding his tribe without having to compromise his dorkiness. Go save him, Elle. Yeah, that van got shot like 50 times. I'm calling bullshit that it still runs, or that the kids inside are still able to run, because they should be dead. Dead. How did she escape on foot so easily? They had that many guys and they didn't even bother to establish a perimeter? That's just shoddy police work. So many nosebleeds. Watched entire seasons of shonen anime with less. Giving off major stranger danger vibes by not waiting for Elle's permission to join her and sitting down anyway. Wait, what? Where am I? I just had the worst dream. This critically acclaimed show wasted an entire episode on a boring side quest. But since we're back to Hopper, I guess I just blacked out for a while. Whew.
Mother of God.
I sincerely hope not. Yeah, Hopper, I think you should get even closer to the glass here.
It's polycarbonate. I can't get through.
Making definitive statements about the demon creature that just crawled out of an interdimensional hellhole.
Mother Mary of Joseph.
Okay, they're kind of adorable, but let's not go naming them just yet and getting overly attached. Also, I understand invoking the name of St. Mary. I mean, she apparently popped out a kid without getting to do the fun stuff required to make one. But Joseph? Why are you invoking his name? He's such a boring character that the Gospels just stopped talking about him after Jesus turned 12. Invoke someone cooler next time, like John or Goku. Look, it's been a while since I attended Sunday school, but I think he was canonized as a saint, right?
We need to make Will sleep.
How does Mike know which needle to grab? Ah, I see someone in the Upside Down taught these Demogorgons how to use elevators. Also, this is why you don't use elevators in an emergency. This exact reason.
Do you know who I am? Your mom.
Hold him down.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Possessed Will. You were close, but the answer we were looking for was actually Mom. Yes, I know. Almost indistinguishable from your answer, but TV moms can just tell the difference, you know? How the did Joyce know how much of that to give her son? Did she receive training in anesthesia when she got a job at the grocery store? Polycarbonate glass? No problem. Steel hatch? Easy peasy. Wooden door? Gonna need a bit more time on this one. Ah, I see someone in the Upside Down taught its Demogorgons how to use elevators and shut off the power to advanced government facilities. They thought of everything. This is not the logo Sears used in 1984. Oh, turns out it is the logo they used in 1984. Well, here's the sin for the amount of time you spent getting this right instead of coming up with a proper adventure for 11. Just pick a scent, Billy. If you're going for that rustic ashtray musk, don't muddle it with cologne.
Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
No, I want to hate Billy because he's an asshole. If you had in the background that he's being abused by a piece of father, then this makes his situation morally complex. Then I have to try to understand why he's the way he is. How dare you write well-rounded assholes? And before you ask, yes, if they hadn't developed Billy more, I'd have seen the lack of making him a well-rounded asshole. I can do both because I actually am a well-rounded asshole.
You're positive that was Dart? Yes. He had the same exact yellow pattern on his butt.
Convenient genetic blemish is extremely convenient.
Molted. Shed his skin to make room for more growth like hornworms.
The is a hornworm? You know what common animals molt? Crabs and snakes. Why not use an example everyone can understand, Dustin, you pretentious little
When's he gonna molt again?
It's gotta be soon. When he does, he'll be fully grown or close to it.
Dustin speaking with an Attenborough level of confidence about the life cycle of the hellspawn walking nightmare maw that he just met.
We both broke the rule of law, okay? So we're even. We're even.
This is like trying to get the judge to also give the cop who chased you a speeding ticket. Not sure that's going to hold up in bro court, Dustin.
No. Hey, guys, why are you headed towards the sound?
Maxine would be the maddest Max at TVSins.
If you want to unlock the doors, you have to completely reboot the computer system and then override the security codes with a manual input.
Fine. How do I do that?
You can't. Not unless you know BASIC.
Bob doesn't appear to realize there's a chasmatic difference between knowing how to code and knowing how the security system of a super secret government laboratory works. Don't worry, Bob. I'm sure the plot has no idea either, and we'll back you all the way.
Remember Bob Newby, superhero.
Bob said Bob Newby ill-fated emotional chew toy, strangely.
They're not in there, are they?
We're not sure.
Why?
Don't worry about answering, Dustin. Some roaring Demogorgons with perfect dramatic timing are here to save you the energy. Also, with how loud these things are, it's a wonder they sneak up on anyone at all. They're like demon huskies, but somehow less whiny. This jump-scaring pipe is a dick to Bob, the audience, and my poor cat that I just reflexively kicked into the year 2038.
Let me try. No. Let me try, Jonathan.
Trying the exact same thing as the guy before you and expecting different results. Pretty sure a dude named Einstein called that insanity, or something. I don't know. I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. Is it embarrassing that he forgot the gun? Yes, but that's not what this sin is for. The sin is the fact that the show is treating it like it matters when the guns do nothing to the demo dogs. Because of course they don't. If they did, there'd be no series, because this show is set in America. Why the is Hop carrying Will and the gun? That kind of seems like a bad idea if he has to use it. Can't Joyce and Mike help? What else are they carrying at this point besides emotional trauma?
Stop! What?
What? What do you think, Bob? He's not asking you to stop because there's a banana peel on the floor, my dude.
You're almost home free, all right, Bob?
Condemning Bob to certain death with one sentence. Yeah, this is a good place to rest and reunite. Nice and safe. And to prove my point from earlier, here's Hopper putting several rounds into one of these things while it barely flinches. Didn't even ruin its appetite. Okay, I get they're eating him because it's awful and the only reason they cast Sean Astin is to make us cry. Thanks for that, by the way. But why are they eating him, really? They didn't stop to snack on any of the other victims they just killed. If they had, everyone probably would have had time to escape. Why do the fictional Beelzepups want my tears?
Did you guys know that Bob was the original founder of Hawkins AV?
Creating a backstory for a character after they're dead to make them being dead sadder.
We can't let him die in vain.
According to Mike, saving Joyce, Hopper, Will, and you, Mike, qualifies as dying in vain.
So how do you kill this thing? Shoot it with fireballs or something?
As if. The Mind Flayer has 90% magic resistance. You're not gonna do shit with fireballs.
You can't just shoot this with guns.
You don't know that.
We literally do know that. You yourself shot several with a gun and it did nothing.
We know it's already killed everybody in that lab.
You don't know that, Mike. What about Dr. Owens? After what happened to Bob, do you really think this show is going to kill him off screen and miss the opportunity for another graphic and emotional punch to our still weeping husks? Also, let's talk about how awful their evacuation plan must have been for 5 dog creatures to kill everyone, especially considering there was a point after the alarm sounded when all of them were in a slow-moving freight elevator. Did they even run drills?
He can't spy if he doesn't know where he is.
Does he need to know? You've literally taken him back to his fucking house. If the being on the other side of this can't deduce that their family home was a possible destination, then I don't think you need to worry about them being much of a threat.
Just because you know the truth, it doesn't mean you're in our party.
I'm so tired of Mike being a petty little shithead to Max. Making your characters start off by hating each other doesn't make me any happier when they eventually end up becoming friends. Just means you've made me feel more feelings than I needed to.
I'm just saying, Elle, she sounds like she was really awesome.
So awesome that she's basically sidelined for an entire season. Wallpapering, stapling, injecting, other various montaging. Excitement? Also, this feels like a lot of work to hide your location when a really good blindfold would have gotten the job done.
If he finds out where we are, will he send those dogs after us?
He won't find out.
Making definitive statements about the owner of the demon creatures that live on the other side of the interdimensional hellhole they climbed out of.
Took that with me to Melvalds and I put it up. I told everyone who came in. My son drew this.
And I'm sure they were just as overjoyed by that picture as they were by the baby pictures you showed them, or that dream you had last night and chose to describe in unnecessary amounts of detail.
I was so proud.
Skip.
Do you remember the day Dad left?
Skip.
Do you remember the first day that we met?
Skip. Is this thing even working? If only Bob was here to recode my skip button.
It was the best thing I've ever done.
Asking a kid to be your friend in kindergarten was the best thing you've ever done. Peaked real early there, didn't you, Mike?
Hey, what is that?
Morse code.
Once again, it's time to play Are You Smarter Than Steve Harrington? Yes, you probably are. But your hair's probably worse.
Do you think you heard that?
Just the phone. You could be anywhere, right?
Right. If it wasn't the phone at Will's house because you morons have no imagination. There's a whole specialized team of doctors whose sole job it is to put people under, but hey, I'm sure Joyce randomly stabbing Will where she feels like will be just fine.
Holy shit.
Is it dead?
Hopper deciding to use his boots instead of his bullets to check if the malevolent Venus man-trap from another reality is dead. Deus Ex Elevena. Again. Also, Lucas looks so disappointed it must have been his dream to go out wielding a plastic slingshot. Also, hey, why does Elle look so different? So weird. She looks just like she did in that dream. Oh no, it wasn't a dream, was it? They really did waste an entire episode on her going to Chicago, didn't they? No! Also, no.
11.
Yay for reunions and all, but what about all the creepy crawly monster slaying action? Either that all happened off screen, which is f***ing unforgivable, or the Mind Flayer literally sent 1 minion when it found out Will's location.
Is that?
No, it's that other superpowered child they told you about.
What the hell is this? Where you been?
Hopper said, "Hey 11, I'm so happy to see you and thank you for saving us from the bullet-resistant face sucker I was about to start shooting in vain, strangely."
Teeth.
Come on, 11, that's nasty. Your impeccable hair suggests that you haven't showered since Chicago, and even worse, you were just on a bus. Stop making that noise. It's unacceptable decorum in front of any human being, Dustin. You sound like Lumpawaroo going through puberty. Have fun going down that rabbit hole, internet. Is this the longest 11 has left her nose bloody? Because it feels like it is.
Do you think if we got you back there that you could close it?
Strip away the techno music and the fact that we're watching a TV show, and it's really weird that 11 is basically ignoring Joyce and randomly staring off into the middle distance. If you're ringing my doorbell this many times, you'd better be holding a hot as hell pizza, and there better not be pineapple on it.
I am looking for my little sister, Max.
Their driveway is pretty dark this time of night.
Sure, he's hot, but imagine giving your kid's location to a bare-chested man-child who just knocked on your door in the middle of the evening with barely a minute of hesitation. The power of boners is strong, but I know for a fact the power of a mama bear's protective instinct is a little bit stronger. Also, we interrupt your sci-fi psychic monster show to bring you the start of a really weird narrative thread that involves adulterous intentions and an emotionally and physically neglected housewife clearly dreaming about having relations with a minor. That's right, Billy's only 17 when he first arrives in Hawkins. This is bordering on some taboo fanfic bullshit. I am not here for it.
I said, demodogs. Like Demogorgon and dogs. Like, you put them together, it sounds pretty badass.
How is this important right now?
Because Dustin is the adorable comedic glue that holds the ship together, Hopper. Feel free to take on that mantle yourself in season 3 and see how it works out for you.
We need to make the host uninhabitable.
We need to burn it out of him.
To be clear, the host we're talking about making uninhabitable is a 14-year-old. I don't remember seeing minor torture in the Netflix trigger warnings for this episode.
Take Denfield. You're going to see a large oak tree. You're going to swing a right. That road is going to dead end. And it's about a 5-minute walk from there.
The fate of the world is on the line, and you're expecting me to remember fairly vague directions with minimal measures of distance from memory? At the very least, you're writing that down for me.
Turns out I'm actually a pretty damn good babysitter.
This one line becomes Steve's entire narrative arc over the next 2 seasons, and I'm here for it. The only sin here is Steve never gets paid for babysitting after season 2.
Al, come on, let's go. It's time.
These kids are 12 and 13. Maybe Hop's right, and we don't need to see them kissing yet.
No, sitting on you, kid. I should have been there.
Why? So you could yell at her, break stuff, and trigger another understandable PTSD meltdown in your adopted daughter?
Sometimes I feel like I'm just some kind of black hole or something.
Hopper did a great job of skipping some emotional earlier between 11 and Mike, but sadly he skipped us right into his own skippable conversation. This is why I have trust issues.
Sarah's my girl.
Where is she?
She left us. The black hole. I got her.
Okay, Hopper, glad you're opening up, but you must be confusing the out of poor 11 here. Your daughter died of cancer, which you just described as a black hole. Problem is, you just described yourself as a black hole, which makes it sound like either you also have cancer or you killed your daughter. Overlay onto that the idea that 11 has literally seen paranormal wormholes transport her to the underworld. She may think you're talking about an actual black hole. Use your metaphors with care, dude.
We can't just bury it like some common mammal, okay? It's not a dog.
Are there different funeral procedures for uncommon mammals? Does Dustin have different end-of-life rules for reptiles and amphibians after death? The show raises an issue I didn't expect to need answered, but I do. I need answers, Dustin.
So if we get their attention,
maybe we can draw them away from the lab and clear a path to the gate.
And if you'd taken a few minutes to think about this earlier, you could have come up with this plan while the people it affects the most were still here, so you didn't have to leave this whole damn thing to chance in lazy, convenient writing.
And who is that?
Did you see us?
Kids. We once again interrupt your sci-fi psychic monster show to bring you 2 numbskulls fist-fighting in the kitchen. We're 20 minutes in and there haven't been any monsters or psychic action yet. Did Stranger Things forget how to, Stranger Things? Look, I understand you gotta save Steve, but you do not know how much of what drug is in that needle. They were using doses big enough to knock out an otherworldly entity possessing Will. Why does this show continue to underestimate how dangerous the concentrated sleep juice is? Also, Lucille was right there. The great equalizer. Sure, there's a solid chance of tetanus, but that sure beats inducing an accidental coma.
It's actually kind of nice.
Nice? Or landlord renting this shithole for $2,000 a month as more financial equity firms snatch up real estate from lower and middle class home buyers. Nice. Take that, broken American housing market. Stranger Things.
This thing has had Will long enough. Let's kill the son of a bitch.
Assuming the gender and questionable parentage of a devil lizard in 7 words or less.
You let me do the heavy lifting up front, all right? You save your strength till we're below.
Solid plan, Hop. Except you appear to be suffering from short-term memory loss, given that the violently accelerated metal proved to be less than effective against the pus pups from Purgatory mere hours ago.
You're okay.
He is not.
Yes! Let me go! Let me go! Yes!
The heaters weren't at max already? As a mom, Joyce should really know that only partially cooking your mind flayer possessed child can lead to nasty food poisoning. It's definitely that or rice.
The bottom line is, a party member requires assistance, and it is our duty to provide that assistance.
Listen, Dustin, your sage D&D advice is very in character, but it's hard to swallow after neither you, Mike, or Lucas seem to object or see the inherent flaw in splitting the party 3 ways.
Hey, Doc. Those suckers got you pretty good.
No hop, they got Bob pretty good. This is barely an aperitif by comparison. Did they not like how he tasted? Were they full up on Bob? How does he survive this?
Maybe you could help her lead like a normal life.
What skills has Dr. Owens demonstrated to lead you to believe he's capable of setting up fake identities for people? He's a doctor in a secret government lab, not a black market passport maker.
Don't go anywhere.
Here, have this gun that is much less powerful than other guns that we've seen have no effect on the gore geckos. Also, I know we're not on the best of terms with Dr. Owens yet, but if this was Joyce, would Hopper have left her in the stairwell? Hell no! Instead, Hopper's here just quipping away like leaving him here shouldn't be a f***ing death sentence.
I'm out! I'm out!
I'm okay.
Nice. Really nice.
Jesus, what an idiot.
Listen here, you pubescent plebes, he wasn't f***ing faking. Just because he's okay now doesn't mean he didn't have the right to scream at the sudden shower he just endured. Shouting mom instead of stopping your mom from being choked.
Light her up.
I'm in such deep shit.
Team, kids light the fire just in the nick of time to save Hopper from a fate worse than Bob. Think about it. They had to come up with this plan, fight off Billy, drive to the right place, navigate the tunnels to find the hub, spray it down, pause dramatically for Steve's one-liner, light it up, and with no way to communicate what they're doing to Hopper, they get that down to the second. Phew, glad Will survived the torment of being possessed. Now he can live through the torment of being gay in the 80s. Closing the gate is a big deal and all, but we're not going to get to see Eleven fight a single Raptor Reaper. The Mind Flayer has poor resource allocation skills and we're paying the price. This is too much hand-holding for one episode.
Start.
Oh, f*** off. You did not just bump into the one spooky salamander that you happened to rear from birth because you just didn't, okay?
Yeah, buddy. Come on.
The age-old nature versus nurture discussion was actually solved in 1983 by an annoying kid, some nougat, and lazy writing. Who knew?
I want you to find something from your past, something that angers you.
Ah! Sudden Chicago episode callback.
Dustin! Come on!
Why did they stop climbing? I mean, sure, it's a long shot, but it's not a bat versus a bunch of toothy lament lizards long shot. Wow, the quasi-dimensional quadrupeds multiplied faster than the Dothraki between the Battle of Winterfell and the Battle of King's Landing, and I watched too much Game of Thrones. Seriously, like 1, maybe 2 of these dogs is all it would take. But no, the Mind Flayer is calling everyone back. I'm not rooting for the bad guy. I'm just rooting for efficiency. Oh, now the guns work on the satanic slither skinks? Now they work? What good is that to Bob? Elle screams while holding up her hand cliché. Using 2 hands just gets you double sins. Fortunately, the Cataclysm critters work just like the bad guys from the first Avengers movie and all die at the same time as soon as the gate is closed and the hero passes out. Is the next stop shawarma? I'd actually love the next stop to be shawarma. Littering. Sealing the fallout zone of an interdimensional hell rift with some chain padlocks and a notice. Do you want 7 seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer? I mean, of course you do, but these guys shouldn't.
Since the release of the incendiary tape, the once quiet town of Hawkins, Indiana has spent time in a place it never expected, the national spotlight.
Even the Duffer Brothers can't last an entire season without a news position. Are there no writers who can create an entire season without relying on a TV reporter in the background to deliver expositional information? No? Just reservation dogs? This Jeep merging into the flow of vehicles was so smooth it was orgasmically distracting, and don't you act like you weren't thinking the same thing.
Pretty sure my football career's over.
Come on, Paul Reiser. Stranger Things didn't end your football career. Starring in Concussion with Will Smith did. They had a whole year and they forgot to add school to this banner. Or even worse, they decided that Hawkins Middle was good enough.
But not as much as I love you, Lukey.
Get out of my room!
Your ability to slam that door without putting Erica's orthodontic journey back several years proves she is not, in fact, in your room.
Ow, ow, that hurts.
It's gonna be worth it. Promise.
Sure, you could control how your daughter looks going to her first school dance, or, hear me out, you let Max make her own decisions about her appearance. Unless you're just conditioning her for a world where women don't get any say in their bodily autonomy.
And you're gonna slam Dad.
Like a lion.
Don't do that, okay?
Yeah, much better to wait until you've been dating a while, get married, have a few kids, and then let them know who you really are. Best to hide all your quirks until they're forced to stay with you out of sheer obligation.
What's in this?
Pure fuel.
Punch Max.
Hey, zombie boy, do you want to dance?
I know kids are mean, and yes, this is mean, but none of the people who tormented me through childhood ever asked me to dance. So I'm saying this for being unrealistic and definitely not out of jealousy. Show makes me sit through a full minute of Dustin being rejected on the dance floor, wrapped in what was already a sufficiently torturous 8 minutes of high school dance flooring. Ending that sophomore slump strong, aren't we, Stranger Things?
Hey.
Want to dance?
Pity dances.
Come on, let's go.
But who will be in the punch bowl? It's the 80s. Someone's totally going to spike it. Probably a teacher. It's worth every breath I take to remind you at every opportunity that the Police song currently playing is not a love song. And if you are of a differing opinion, please don't stand so close to me. Aw, they gotta dance. That's cute. They'll each get an adorable little memory to accompany all that physical and emotional trauma from being attacked by interdimensional monsters. You know, we often see buildings in the Upside Down that have a counterpart in our world, but my main curiosity is, when did the buildings in the Upside Down get built? This season was set in 1984, so if you build a house in 1985 in Hawkins, would it automatically get a parallel version of itself in the Upside Down? Or was there a cutoff for these things to appear? Like, nothing after 1980 gets to exist in the Upside Down? These are the answers we need in Season 5, people. You got renewed for a third season. We get it.
We are not boring people. Would boring people get renter's insurance even though it's not legally required?
All right, we all want things.
Okay, that's like the least fun game ever.
This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
I hate birds. They're so useless.
Do I have to purr?
Well, come on, talk to me.
I learned it by watching you.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little soul, too.
I got a rock.
Really? You like skateboards?
Went around slandering me, threatening all sorts of madness.
Slander is spoken. In print, it's libel.
You see these hands?
They look like big, good, strong hands.
Hey, Chief, you copy? Is there any way I can get off my fingers quickly without betraying my cool exterior?
Yeah, it's just nougat.
Nougat? No. Positive? Please.
I am on a curiosity voyage, and I need my paddles to travel. These books are my paddles.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Introducing the new front-wheel drive Toyota Camry. It does not have a fireplace.
At first, I thought it was some type of
Hot tub time machine.
holy shit.
Anyone else want legs?
Would you like me to...
Go to Mum's, kill Phil, sorry, grab Liz, go to the Winchester, have a nice cold pint, and wait for all this to blow over.
Oh, that's real nice.
That day, for no particular reason, I decided to go for a little run.
I am Venom, and you are mine.
I just want this to be over.
It's okay.
There's a new sheriff in town.
Will didn't want me to tell anyone, but on Halloween night, he saw a sort of shadow in the sky.
A shadow? What kind of shadow?
6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. This means something.
Gone. Reduced to atoms.
Believe it or not, George isn't at home.
You wanna have sex?
Sure.
No, Kelly Clarkson! When mom's mad at you, how do you make her not mad?
Sing her a shanty nice and snappy, wash her in the bathtub.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Get him again.
There's no crying in baseball!
No, I mean, we're just friends.
Friends.
Men and women can't be friends because the sex part always gets in the way.
The boy's pheromone level suggests he wants to mate with the female.
That's my friend, Mike.
What about me, kid? You couldn't forget my face, could you?
Do a barrel roll!
Lucas, what's going on?
Hold on!
Hold on!
3 o'clock! 3 o'clock!
Clever girl.
We need to get through. It's a trap! Hey. It's a trap!
It's a trap! Here's Johnny.
Look what you did,
you little jerk.
Mouth breather.
Can I interest you folks in some of our heavenly cheesecake?
Sisters. Hallie, we're like twins.
Think of it as a kind of magic.
Your ancestors called it magic.
Are you real?
Are you an angel?
I can hear you popping a hernia over here.
Ah, my edibles just kicked in.
One ugly motherfucker.
Shove it up your ass.
In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, the power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you.
We gotta go.
Must go faster.
Shed his skin to make room for more growth like hornworms.
Didn't I just tell you to stop making up animals?
Steve? Nancy? Jonathan?
Donkey!
Okay, Bob, can you hear us?
Hey, Tuggernuts, I've got you on speakerphone.
It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frugal. The ones that really mattered. Full of darkness and danger they were. And sometimes you didn't want to know the end. Because how could the end be happy?
I think he's talking. Just not with words.
Don't wait for the translation! Answer me now!
Do you know what the definition of insanity is?
No! Do you?
Yes, it's the inability to relate to another human being.
Now wipe yourself off. You're bleeding.
I'm Nancy's mother.
But you're so thin. We can't just bury it like some common mammal, okay? It's not a dog.
You're not Cheddar. This is some common bitch.
Well, that's one point of view.
From a certain point of view.
I am gonna beat the holy fucking fuckity out of one of you.
Expecto Patronum!
You held on to it as long as you could, didn't you?